Yeah, Leron McAdoo encouraging you to get Mctivated and be Comicbook Bold. Today, we're doing a picture of storm. You can see I started out with the light bulb, the torso, and quickly put in the arm, the other shoulder, the extremities. Now I'm working on the hips, the lower leg, the calf, now the other thigh, and everything lined out. Now I got the legs kind of laid out, making sure that knee is square with the hips. Got the other arm, the hand where it needs to go. Looking to see if I really like that. Erasing the arm just enough so that I can trace the line I want. Forearm, bicep, shoulder. Erasing the top part of the torso, the chest area. Tighten that up. All of this is stylized, meaning this is my personal anatomy that I created, along with looking at people like John Byrne and Jim Lee. The other arm and hand, looking at things, making sure it's tight. Take the hips and the legs off right quick. Trace the line I want. Line the hips up. I'm making sure. Make sure again that knee is square with the hips. Get the hips right. The thigh, knee area, calf, and the foot. Getting that center line right. Even though I'm not going to be shading all of these muscles, I'm still putting them in there for reference. Kind of shaving that, simplifying that form, simplifying that silhouette. Got the head. Now I'm doing the shading. I've decided the light will be coming from one way. So I'm putting down some reference shading, I'll say. Now I didn't shade that arm because the arm that's extended is going to have that lightning on it. So I didn't want to shade it. The lightning itself would be bright. And that actually is the source of the light. Getting the belt down. And on the other side of me, I have the movie version of Storm with Halle Berry. So that is the uniform that I am working from. All of it's a work in progress. You saw me change that foot. I'm looking, measuring everything alongside other things, and looking at the design that I'm trying to get. Got the collar. Still hadn't put the face on yet, but the shoulder pads, this on the uniform. Getting that down. The seams of the costume. Getting that down. Got people calling me. I'll get back to y'all. Now I'm working on the face, the eye line, the nose line, the mouth line, and everything down. Once again, the hand is where the light will be coming from, so that dictates where the shading will come from. Now I'm doing the hair, the Halle Berry style hair. Yep, making sure it's tight. I'm liking what I'm seeing. I always have to make sure the head of the female or male is the right size in relation to what the body is. Making sure that silhouette is tight. All right, getting those folds in the clothes. Making sure everything is where I want it to be. Now for the cape. So the cape is connected to her wrist. Put in a few folds. I like a simplified cape. J. Scott Campbell is probably the inspiration for that. I like a cape that's just sort of wavy and simplified. I raise that up because that arm is up. So I'm going to have to raise the bottom up as well. That makes more sense gravity-wise. Make those wrist bands, if you want to call them, a little shorter. And now it's time to do the outline. So I'm making sure that I draw the lines that I want to draw. I've gone back and forth about eyes. Some people draw eyes and leave the eyes open at the bottom, reflecting how the light won't touch that part. I've done that. Then through observation, I see that the eye is actually all the way outlined. So that's sort of where I am right now. I may change it again. You never know. Inking the hair, at least the thin line of it. At first, when I drew the hair, it was one big piece, and now use a few little details to kind of separate it out. But I think about it as one piece. Get that collar down. Shoulder blades. Not shoulder blades. That's not shoulder blades. What are those called? Collar bones. All right. I'm way past that now. Doing the hand. I won't say taking my time, but I'm being more careful about each individual digit. Making sure it makes sense, since that hand will be glowing. Simply doing the outline. The X belt. the design of the costume. Actually, this is X-Men 1 Storm, I believe. The all leather suit. Yeah, I'm looking at the foot. I'm like, thinking, let me extend this a little bit. I like long legs. I think that creates more of a heroic look when you have long legs. Doing a little designing while I ink. I really don't do tight pencils unless somebody else is inking. But these pencils are good enough for me. As I said before, the most important thing in my mind is the outline, the silhouette, the contour of the body. And everything else internally falls in place a little more. I'm gonna put those fingers in shadow to send it to the background. I drop that down a little more, actually raise that a little more. Now I got this flowing line once again. Thanks, J. Scott Campbell. Nice flowy cape right there. Putting in all the designs. Got the zipper. And honestly, that outline looks to be pretty much done. Got the turn in the hips. I like the face. You know, I could have done that with the pen, but I was a scaredy cat. I wanted to put it down with the pencil first. All right, now I'm on to the shadows. Got the outline pretty much finished, so now it's time for the shadows. Put those stretchy twists in there. Sort of a backlight. All of these are the shadows that will be shaded in. Make sure I have like a rim light around it. I think it actually looks pretty good. Thigh, calf. Yep. Got that back arm shaded, at least by outline. Okay, got the boots. Make sure I get what I want. Oh man, I think I like that. I think it's time to do something else, man. Is it time to fill stuff in? I think it is. All right, so I'm shading. Got some hatching going on. The hatching to me gives it life. The straight dark gives it a graphic look. I'm feathering up toward the hand. But once again, it's getting light as you go toward the hand because the hand is the source of light for this picture. So the further away you get from the hand, the more likely you're going to be in shadow. Yep, that's what that indicates right there on the chest area. Feathering toward the hand. They hitting me up again. I'll get with you later. Got the rib cage right there. Spun this black area. A little cast shadow up there for the chest. Shade into these pulls, so it looks like you can see the twist in the uniform a little better. Yeah. All right, shade up under the neck. And the cast shadow on the collar. The opposite of the shadow is light, and you kind of really see that now. That's a lot of times people ask, how do you shade stuff? Well, once you figure out your light source, then darkness is on the other side of that. The abdominal shading is going to be on the opposite side of the abdominal. The bottom of the pelvic area. Shading always kind of brings it out. And I like feathering and hatching because I'm a very big fan of that 90s look. Those are my knees. I've been experimenting with my knees, meaning I've been researching, looking at how knees really look in real life and how people have interpreted knees in comic books. I don't think I'm settled yet. It's always funny when you're drawing, you get to a point where you have settled and say, this is how my stylized anatomy will work. And I'm at a point now where I'm revamping. You're always revamping something. And so for me right now, it's knees. Like, how do knees really look versus how do I draw them? Because I do have my way of drawing them, but I know they're not real. And if it bothers me, I say to myself, I need to change it. But I'm liking what I'm seeing. Shading into the boot. Feathering down. Hatching down, rather. And I feather the tip. I think that's a pretty good looking storm right there. Doing a cast shadow on the collar. It just informs the reader a little more about the light source. Now I'm establishing the shadows on the cape based on two things: the curve of the cape and right here the shadow cast onto the cape by Storm herself. Got a fold there, I think. Okay, got a fold there. That way we can give this cape some dimensions. I'm gonna cross out of that. Yeah, the crosshatch. All right, getting all the shadows down. Again, the light source is the hand. So any part of the cape that's away from the hand, there's going to be a shadow on it. The body is going to be shaded onto the hand. You always kind of look at it a little bit. Okay. Is this good or is this garbage? So now it's time to get my blacks. You know, all those good big time comic book artists had people to fill in blacks for them. They would just put an X on the area that needed to be filled in black, and the inker would go ahead and take care of that for them. So my crew is me, myself, and I. So I did the pencils, doing the inks, and blackening in everything on my own. Yeah. Decided to make that shadow a whole deep black shadow. I think that works. Shadow behind this ear on the hair. Making sure that's dark. Shading one side of the head. The one that's furthest away. Yeah, the farthest away from that lightning hand. All right, got a good outline going. Got this kneaded eraser. I keep stretching it and balling it back up to get a clean area. The good thing about these erasers, they don't leave the particles on your paper, on your floor, on your board. Get a little outline. Now I think it's about time to put a calligraphy line. on that outline. I'm going to do it first with the face, but I'm going to use it with the Micron pen. Try to thicken up whatever lines I need to thicken up. Then for the outline, I'm using paintbrush pen. That's the small tip. Making sure that got a nice calligraphy line, thin in one place, thick in another place. Learned that in college, getting my art degree, but I also learned it in junior high. I didn't go to middle school. In junior high, when John Byrne would draw the X-Men, he was a master of that calligraphy line. That's what we called it. Thin, thick. Just repeat that pattern. Thin, and then they get thicker. Thick on the bottom. Goes from thin to thick. The line also is weighted. And it just brings life to whatever you're drawing when you do that. I did the face with the microns because I wanted to be sure to preserve the detail. But with the hair, I don't have to be as accurate, so I can go ahead and use it. Just gives it so much more dimension. All right. If you notice, I didn't mess with the hand with the lightning that's extended out. Decided, hey, I need a background. What about clouds going in a circle? But Ron Mac, clouds don't go in a circle. This is comic book. Hold your horses. Calm down. Oh, there go the lightning. Got to put that lightning on there. I've done lightning in so many crazy different ways, too. That adds a whole lot. Now just a straight horizontal cloud in the background with the rain in the back. And some lightning. The lightning. Now I'm shading the clouds. All right, now I can go ahead and start inking those clouds that are rumbling in a circle at the direction of the one and only storm. Which when you do things like that, it just gives it more action, especially since the clouds are diagonal in some areas. Gives it a sense of movement. And I think I looked at a few Storm books with Storm in it. And I think that's where this effect came from. I think I've seen it somewhere. All right, gotta get these lightning strips down good. Ah, beautiful. And with things like this, the clouds, the lightning, you always try to make it look random. It's a hard job because I do realize that some of my lightning resembles itself drawing after drawing. I was thinking about doing some other type stuff. And now I think I will. Darken these clouds up. I can stand to be a little loose. Yeah, I like that. Got the clouds with some little shading. Oh, and here comes the rain, man. Also, things like this provide a little separation because it adds a value, a gray value to that background. And I don't know if you recognize it, but I'm attempting to drop this down in a random fashion so it didn't look all uniform. That's why I'm not going in a straight line or going up and down. I'm just kind of randomly putting in stuff, attempting to make things look random. Okay. I don't know about you, but I like that. This storm. I'm going to answer y'all phone calls in a minute. But the finishing touch has to be made. Name time. Game time. Storm, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. Here it is.
Leron McAdoo found joy in drawing superheroes, but he was an illiterate third grader. So suddenly his mother said she would not buy another comic book until he could read them. McAdoo rose above being afraid of words to getting paid for words. Now he uses words to get people Mctivated about their own superpower. He drew strength from drawing. This is Comicbook Bold. To see his comic commissions and comic art, go to Pinterest.com at that hip hop and select Leron McAdoo art.